How the Titanic was found. A journey to the bottom of the Atlantic. On the evening of April 14th, 1912, the Titanic, known as the largest and most luxurious ship of its time, struck an iceberg during its maiden voyage across the Atlantic. The tragedy claimed over 1,500 lives and became one of the most notorious maritime disasters in history. Although the ship sank on that cold night, its story endured, sparking intense curiosity and numerous attempts to locate its wreck. It wasn't until 73 years later, in 1985, that the mystery of the Titanic's final resting place was finally solved. Here's how the Titanic was discovered and the groundbreaking efforts that led to one of the most remarkable finds in underwater exploration history. Early search attempts and the challenges. Almost immediately after the disaster, efforts were made to locate and study the wreck. However, the technology in the early 20th century was vastly limited. Despite knowing the general area where the Titanic went down, the precise location remained unknown, buried under thousands of feet of water in the North Atlantic. Some of the earliest expeditions were well-intentioned, but without modern sonar or submersible technology, finding the Titanic was like searching for a needle in a haystack. In the 1970s, more sophisticated attempts were made as deep-sea technology advanced. Notably, a group led by American oceanographer Jack Grimm tried to locate the Titanic in the early 1980s. Grimm's expeditions used sonar imaging, but they were ultimately unsuccessful. Despite setbacks, these efforts laid the groundwork and boosted interest in a more determined search. The role of Dr. Robert Ballard in the breakthrough discovery. The man who would ultimately find the Titanic was Dr. Robert Ballard, a former U.S. Navy officer and oceanographer. Ballard had long been fascinated by underwater exploration and became determined to locate the Titanic. By the early 1980s, he began collaborating with the French Oceanographic Research Organization, RAFREMER, French Research Institute for Exploitation of the Sea, to jointly search for the Titanic. This partnership was crucial as it combined FREMER's advanced sonar equipment with Ballard's expertise. In 1985, they launched the expedition that would ultimately solve the mystery. Ballard and his team used a remotely operated vehicle, ROV, called Argo, equipped with a camera capable of scanning the seafloor in great detail. Rather than simply scanning with sonar, they employed a unique method. The search team decided to look for the debris field rather than the ship itself, theorizing that the Titanic had broken into pieces as it sank. The historic find. On September 1st, 1985, the Argo finally found what they had been looking for: evidence of the Titanic on the ocean floor, approximately 13,000 feet below the surface. Argo's camera captured haunting images of the ship's giant boilers, propellers, and pieces of debris scattered across the ocean floor. This debris led the team to the main sections of the ship, confirming that the Titanic had broken into two main parts, as survivors had long reported. The discovery shocked the world and reignited fascination with the Titanic. Ballard and his team took detailed photographs, revealing the hauntingly preserved relics of the ship's final moments. The bow and stern sections lay about 1,970 feet apart, with debris stretching between them. Technology and techniques used in the search. The success of the expedition was due in large part to the advanced technology at Ballard's disposal. The ROV Argo played a central role, as its cameras allowed for continuous visual scans of the ocean floor. Its ability to operate remotely and endure the immense pressure at such depths was revolutionary for the time. In addition to Argo, Ballard's team used sonar imaging and a support vessel called the Nor, which provided crucial logistical and operational support throughout the mission. A major innovation of Ballard's approach was the decision to search for the debris field rather than the intact ship. By following the trail of wreckage scattered across the seafloor, the team could trace their way to the ship's main sections. This method proved essential in navigating the vast and dark ocean depths. The legacy of the Titanic's discovery. Finding the Titanic was an unparalleled achievement in underwater archaeology and engineering. Ballard's success proved that humanity could overcome even the most challenging barriers in ocean exploration. His work inspired a new era of exploration and set a precedent for the use of ROVs and sonar technology in similar searches. The discovery of the Titanic also raised ethical questions about how to handle such a significant historical site. In the years following the find, various expeditions have returned to the wreck, capturing footage and, in some cases, removing artifacts for display. However, debates continue over